Welcome, 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 welcome. I am having a PTSD flashback to Effie Trinket. Anyway, if you were a teenager once, or maybe you still are, in which case, hey, fellow kids, but you've probably played around with the Kiss, Marry, Kill format. We are keeping it PG here today. You know, then it's when you pick 3 items from a similar category and you pick which one you'd smooch, which one you would want to spend the rest of your life with, someone steady, dependable, your tried and true, your comfort pick, and which one you would be happy to never see or hear from again. You're familiar. So we're going to be doing that with books today, and I've picked a few different genres to choose from. We've got lit fic or contemporary fiction, nonfiction, romance, and classics. Starting with literary fiction, the 3 picks that I have today are Bunny by Mona Awad, The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki. I think there's probably a rainbow in my face right now because the rainbow gem, what do you call them? The rainbow gem, the prism stone that hangs in front of my window is blinding me right now. Oh well, I hope it's pretty. I would definitely kiss The Secret. I think one of the reasons us girlies love it so much, beyond the like dark academia of it all, is because it's kind of darkly sexy in a broody adolescent way. Everyone's kind of in love with each other, in love with themselves, and they indulge in this very extremely sensual, romantic lifestyle, even taking it to the point of some unmentionable esoteric rituals. So, would I go to a cool party with these people? Sure. Would I want to stick around? No. No. They're so tortured and so miserable. No, I would want to marry A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki. Now, I'll admit, it can be pretty depressing, especially in the beginning, but there were lessons I learned from this book that I would like to return to again and again and again and again. And I did truly fall in love with the characters. I want to be a part of their family and take on all of the baggage that entails. I feel like I do not hear enough about this book in this space, and that is really too bad because while it is kind of quiet, that is part of what makes it so brilliant, and it's so real, and yes, the subject matter is dark on the surface. You should check trigger warnings for sure, but it's told with such a playful voice. This book changed me, and the relationship I have with it is one through which I grew as a person, and I'm bonded to that story for life, and what more could you want from a partner? So that means the book that I would kill. I'm gonna get in so much trouble for this. Lock me up. It's Bunny by Mona Awad. I just did not get the hype around this book, and there's a lot of hype around this book. So yeah, I kind of wish that would go away. And I've mentioned this before, but I have a hard time in general with books that feel like they're weird and different and edgy just for the sake of being weird and edgy and different. This felt like that to me, and I feel so lame saying that, and maybe I am. Listen, I think I get the metaphor about female friendship, I guess. I'll admit it's been a while since I've read it, but I prefer my metaphors to just be a little bit subtler. And maybe I should learn to just enjoy the wild ride for what it is. I'll admit, I half want to kill this one just because I feel a little left out. Because everyone gets it except for me, and that is probably my problem. Moving on to nonfiction, I have got How to Do Nothing by Jenny Odell, Waking Up by Sam Harris, and and The Argonauts by Maggie Nelson. The way I'm interpreting Kiss for this round is a little different because this is a book I do love, and it's not that I wouldn't marry it per se, but it's more that it kind of actually goes beyond the idea of marriage. I'll tell you what I mean. This book is not a safe book. It's not supposed to be safe. I love it because it's not a safe book. It's not a comfort read. It kind of exploded my view of love and relationships, especially the connection between romantic and erotic and familial relationships. I'm talking about The Argonauts by Maggie Nelson. It's also chock full of theory, philosophical, psychoanalytic, linguistic theory, so in that sense, yeah, it's not, definitely not a comfort read. Like your mind has to be ready for it. But yeah, it's profoundly erotic and fleshy and stunning. I would go to How to Do Nothing by Odell as a comfort read. Yeah, I'd marry this one because, like Tale for the Time Being, there are a lot of lessons here that I feel I am in constant need of being reminded. I feel like this one has been marketed as a kind of self-help book, probably because of the how in the title, but it's really more meditational and it's pretty philosophical as well, but I think in a more accessible way. And I truly do rely on this book. I depend on this book to help me navigate the attention economy, which is so much of our lives. So sorry, Sam, but I would kill Waking Up. I do think people could probably get a lot out of this book. I don't want to say that it's for no one. I read it while I was kind of in my new atheist phase of grief as I was leaving my church. I definitely did need it during that stage of my deconstruction. But I would say that my relationship to religion, to my religion, to religion in general is just a lot more nuanced now, and I would even say it has matured. And so now at this point I just find that a lot of the new atheist stuff kind of annoys me. So Sam Harris is kind of part of that crowd. To be fair, this book is not really about religion, it's more about a secular spirituality, mindfulness, but he presents those ideas in a way that I kind of have beef with now, and especially the way he represents some Eastern philosophies I think are misinterpretations. So it's really, I'd kill this book in a kind of kill your darlings kind of way. I've moved on and I don't need you anymore. Okay, let's have some fun and talk about romance, which I don't really do very often on this channel because honestly, I don't have much to say about the romance books that I read. My romance reading is my no-thinking, non-critical reading, but that's not totally the case with these picks, which are Ali Hazelwood's Not in Love, Normal People by Sally Rooney, and Dating After the End of the World by Jeneva Rose. The Kiss, I'll just kind of dispense with that quickly. That's an easy one. It's Ali Hazelwood's Not in Love. I'll just say it. I like her smut, and I feel like this one really approached the topic of sex in an interesting way. Don't get me wrong, I love a slow burn, but this kind of just faced that topic head on in a way I really appreciated. Also, I could probably just say any Ali Hazelwood fits this category. That's just probably my favorite of hers right now. I would marry Normal People by Sally Rooney. It's also been a while since I read this one, but I just remember it feeling like a revelation to the younger version of myself who still had a very naive perspective on love and relationships, and this just helped break that open for me, and I do see myself returning to it and rereading it just as a kind of meditation on love and human connection and the messiness of those things. I'm a bit bummed about having to kill this next book, but I would absolutely murder Dating After the End of the World by Jeneva Rose. I'm sorry. I was really excited about reading a zombie apocalypse romance because I don't know about you, but some of the fantasy romances that we've been getting lately are a little bit stale, and this just sounded different. First of all, let me warn you, this was a little bit more gory than I expected it to be, and I know you're probably like, duh, zombie apocalypse, but it's also a romance, so I was expecting kind of like a softer zombie apocalypse. I don't really have a problem with that, I'm just giving you a heads up. What I hated, or rather who I hated, was the male love interest. Maybe it's because I'm just not the hugest enemies to lovers guy, but this dude was just mean. Like, he was her childhood bully, and it seemed like it was bad. Like, she was traumatized. Editing me here. When I say that he was her childhood bully, I don't mean that they were a couple 5-year-olds pushing each other around on the playground. I mean, like, he was the bane of her existence until she left at age 18, and up until that point, he made high school hell, so yeah, it was pretty bad. And then when they reconnect later as adults, he's still way too mean for me. If anyone said those things to me, I don't care what your trauma is, I don't care what your baggage is, you've shown your character and we will not be speaking again. So the redemption arc was just not believable to me, and I just read this being so stewing mad at this dude the whole time. It felt more like listening to your best girlfriend talk about how horrible their boyfriend treats them for hours, and then at the end of the phone call, they're just like, but I love him. Girl. Finally, let's kiss, marry, kill some classics. I have picked The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, The Hobbit by Tolkien, and A Moveable Feast by Ernest Hemingway. I would definitely kiss A Moveable Feast by Ernest Hemingway. It is one of the most romantic, non-romance books I've ever read. It's Hemingway's account of working and living amongst the other authors and artists living in Paris during what's probably its most romantic era. And it truly is a feast to read in that sort of charming everyday life kind of way. I think about his description of eating oranges in his attic all the time. All the time. And I would marry the sweet, sweet Hobbit, which is a childhood favorite. It's a comfort read, it's a whimsical read, it's my safe read, and it always will be. I want to live in the Shire, I want to live in this world, I want to go on adventures with my friends in this beautiful land. If you are too intimidated to get into the Lord of the Rings trilogy, start here. I promise you'll fall in love with it. I did. I love, love, love The Hobbit. Which means, finally, and I am gonna get so much hate for this as well, but I would kill The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. A book that seems to be everyone's most beloved, accessible classic. I am so sorry. I truly am sad and sorry that it is not also mine. I read this one just back in October, and while yes, the writing is beautiful, so lush, I was just so annoyed the whole time by what felt like a very oversimplified parable about how beauty and goodness are at odds with each other without ever exploring the ways that they're not. It's just, and I'm being nitpicky here, I know, but it was just so heavy-handed in its messaging. And you know me, I'm a sucker for subtle, and I know that that's not the kind of story it was supposed to be. It really, even before I read it in my October TBR video, I read the synopsis and I'm like, this sounds like a parable. I knew what I was getting into, but the characters were just not complex enough for me to explore a topic that is much more complex than what the story made it out to be. And I also was kind of like, okay, I get it, 25 pages in, and it kind of felt like I knew exactly where this was going. I knew exactly what the story was going to be. I knew exactly how it was going to end. I didn't even feel the need to finish it, except that I've been meaning to read it for years. And the writing was beautiful, so I did finish it. But yeah, by the end I was like, I got that 100 pages ago. I feel like I am wrong about this opinion. But I have to be honest because I just had such a strong negative reaction to this one. So unfortunately, I will have to kill all y'all's favorite book. Sorry. Well, that's all I've got. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go outside, enjoy some really beautiful weather we've been having. I've kind of just been watching these the teeniest birds on the tree outside my window. They've been giving me cuteness aggression throughout the filming of this video. So yeah, I'm gonna get out there. Thank you for being here though. Tell me what books you would kiss, marry, kill in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye!